Okay. So yeah, like I was saying, your job is to not to be talking someone into the sale. Your job is to just understand their situation first. The best salespeople at the end of the day just ask better questions than everyone else. So if you were to break this down into like a math problem, it would be like selling equals diagnosing someone, then prescribing them based on what you've heard, and then helping them make a decision. So, if you guys were to say one thing, what would you say that the number one skill in sales actually is? Just drop it in the chat and let's see what everyone has to say. Okay, so a lot of people are saying building value. There's other people that are saying finding the need, finding the why. I would say personally that finding the need, diagnosing the actual problem is way more important than building value because you can't build value if you haven't found out the problem. So you got to diagnose people first, and you really have to dive deep into what that problem is, what could happen if they don't end up getting the product. And from there, then you can build value. But until you do that, you can't build any value to begin with. So you always need to start there. Um, Next thing here that I see a lot of newer agents kind of crap out on is they'll pitch price very early in the call before actually finding that need and then building value after that based on whatever the problem is. So an example of like bad flow would be you do your intro, then you start talking about the product, the features of the product, then you go right into the price and ask them what they think about it. So that would be a bad flow. A good flow would be doing your intro, building a little bit of rapport, then talking about the situation that they're in, maybe some of the problems that could occur if they don't end up getting the problem. So those would be the consequences. Then talk about their goals with the product, and then find a proper solution for them. That would be a good flow. Um, so little scenario here. If someone were to say, like a 50-year-old were to say that they already have life insurance through work, uh, you don't want to respond by telling them what they have right off the jump until you've dove a bit deeper into what it is. So you got to ask them how long they've had it, what's the main goal with the coverage when they did end up getting it, or if their job ended up putting it in place, what's that going to protect them from in the event that something happened to them? Do they have a mortgage? Do they have rent? Do they have car payments? Are they looking to cover their final expenses? Everybody has a different situation, so that's why you need to dive deep into each individual person's problem. Um, so yeah, you got to ask them what the main goal is. Do they know if it's term or whole life? A lot of times when someone has coverage through their job, it will be term, but it is still scenario based. Sometimes people with a government job do have whole life coverage. So it's still good to ask the question and see how much the other person on the phone actually knows about what they have to begin with. So after you figure out all that, then you can create your next angle and dive deeper. But you have to find out all that stuff first. Um, a bad example of what to do would be like if someone says they already have life insurance and then telling them right off the bat, oh, did you know that that's term? You can't just do that. It's too combative. You need to find out more first in order to have an educated response back. Um, so that's what I would say there. Does anybody have any questions about anything that I've gone through so far?
What would you say is the correct way to tell them, hey, it's not a term, or,
Uh,
or, or it is a term?
the
Would you
correct
say?
way to tell them that it is a term. So after I've found, if they told me that they don't even know if it is a term or not, I would relate them to most people. I would use what's called the Jones effect. I would say, yeah, so most people that do have coverage through their job, that does end up being a term. Pretty much the way that works, it's almost like a company car. If you were to leave the job, it goes along with the company, so it's not permanent. Now, I'm assuming you were looking for something that's guaranteed that you'll have for the rest of your life. Is that right? And then they'll give me a yes from there. So that's kind of how I would take that. Um, yeah. Anybody else? Okay, so I'll continue on here. And then next thing would be objections. When it comes to objections, there's obviously a difference between a real objection and a smokescreen. A real objection is a legitimate concern that these people have. So if the price is actually too much for them, um, if they actually are at the doctor's office and someone's telling them they need to come on, like these are real objections. If they're telling you they have to go and they really don't have to go, like they don't, that's a smokescreen. And the way that you handle these are different. With an objection, you have to actually tackle it head on, and isolate the objection, figure out what the real concern actually is. And with a smokescreen, you can almost ignore them and just ask your next question. So if someone's like, "Yeah, man, I gotta go right now. We can take care of this later." It's like, "Yeah, no, it's all good. I won't make this too long for you." And then ask your next question. You acknowledge it, you have good vibes around it, and then you just ask your next question. And most of the time, they'll just be like, "All right, like this guy's persistent. He's not going to stop. He told me he's going to make it quick for me. He understands that I don't want to spend too much time over the phone." Because that's what it means. If they tell you they want to go, they either don't understand what they're doing, they don't know how to get off the phone with someone easily, um, or they just don't want to spend the time. So you got to make them understand that, look, we're not going to take too much longer here. We're going to make sure that you do get something in place for your family. That way, if something does happen to you, you'll be covered for your burial, your mortgage, your cremation, whatever you're setting them up for. Um, and then just continue on from there. Don't even bring back up uh, the objection or the smoke screen if you got them past it. And then when it comes to a real objection, someone may tell you something like, yeah, man, I just don't know if I'm ready to do this yet. And you have to actually find out what the real objection is under that. So it's like, yeah, is the price mainly the issue for you right now, or you just don't really see the value in it? Can really only be those two things. So then they'll tell you, they'll be like, yeah, it's just the price right now. And then you can even ask them, what else? Like, that's a good word to use. It's like, okay, just the price. Like, what else? If you want to find out more. Um, and if not, if they just say, yeah, it's the price, it's like, okay, provided, we can keep you in, say, like this range today, or you could even price anchor them. You said you wanted to be under 100 a month. So provided I could get you under there, would this be something that you'd at least be willing to see if you're approved for? And then they'd probably tell you yes. Um, so when, let's see. All right. So yeah, that pretty much touches on objections and smoke screens. Does anybody have questions about that? Like maybe what the difference between like
Huh.
certain question that someone asked would
Would
be if it is a
would
real
an
objection?
objection would an objection be like already has really good coverage and doesn't need any more? Would that be an objection? Like they have like say like 25,000, they're like, I don't want to get any more coverage. They're like, I'm covered fully. Would that be a smoke screen or would it be an objection?
Well, if someone, yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, it's definitely more of an objection. But if someone says that, you're going to be like assumptive further and say, okay, so I'm assuming you were just looking to add some extra coverage onto what you had. Is that right? And if they say no, then there is no need. So it's not really even an objection. There's no need there. They don't actually need the product. There has to be a real need. If someone doesn't have insurance or their price is too high, something like that, then there is a need for it. They can either get a better rate, better coverage, um, or they can get something in the first place. So that's real need. If they don't need it, they don't need it. You really can't force that upon people. And those are the type of deals that do end up charging back. If they don't need it, then one day they're going to have buyer's remorse and say, you know what, things are tight right now. Do I really need to spend this extra $70 a month? Probably not. And they'll end up canceling it. So yeah, I would say that there's just no need there. So it would be very difficult to actually like get over that. Probably just let that person off the phone.
All right.
Now, yep. So when it comes
Yes.
to actually closing the deal as a whole, the close isn't at the end of the call. The close technically is during your discovery when you're finding out why they want it, like what they want exactly, what's stopping them, what happens if they don't end up solving it. You can lay out a couple things that are frequent for people that don't end up getting coverage, things like a GoFundMe, borrowing from family members, things of that sort. So when you create that vision early on in the call, you don't have to close at the end when you start to overcome objections. All you have to do is just tie everything back to what you've already went over at the beginning of the call. So that's why I would like highly emphasize that everybody spends a lot of time in their discovery and finding out as much as possible and really uncovering the problem before they pitch a price and before they get any sort of objections to begin with. That way, when they do end up getting objections, they can just tie everything back to what's already been said at the beginning of the call, and it's coming out of their mouth, not yours. They're selling themselves. So it's not like you're not being combative at all. You're just repeating back what they've already told you um, by selling themselves. So that is everything that I have. Oh, got a client calling me. Just gonna have to wait. Okay. So, yeah. Now, do you guys have any other objections that you may get on some of these calls that you don't know how to tackle at the moment? I can
Joe,
kind
I
of,
have a good question for you. So,
yeah.
you mentioned something that I would say is like more of a higher level of closing or like a higher level tactic when you can get the client to actually like spell out like what would happen to the beneficiary if they didn't get the product. If you could actually like accomplish doing that, it's going to be a really strong way to get them emotionally tied in. So my question is like how do you bring that up without it sounding like, I guess, confrontational or like manipulative in a way, if you get what I'm saying. So like do you do like some kind of context before you do that? Like, oh yeah, and I've been doing this for a long time, whatever it might be. Like, do you do anything like that? How do you bring that up?
So I learned something from a video that I saw recently online. I think Caden actually sent it in. It's pretty good. The guy says during the application process, he's like, yeah, so now they're just asking me here on the application what exactly the life insurance is for and who it's going to cover. And then they talk about it because they think it's part of the application process and you're not asking them. And then you dive deeper off that and it makes it seem less like you're almost forcing them into opening up. It's just like it's part of the process. And now after they give you the first response, then you're just acting like a caring human and diving deeper and seeing like really what the problem could be for them so we prevent it at all costs, if that makes sense.
That's, yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
the kid's like, yeah, Mary, so they're just asking us here on the insurance application now, like before we proceed here, what exactly is the coverage going to be used for? I'm just going to type in a brief summary here, something like that.
Fire, fire.
Um, I saw Owen raise a hand and Colby C. So Owen first and then Colby.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you did? No, you're
No.
all good. Colby.
I just wanted to add to what you just said just now. I've been in insurance for a minute now, and at a previous IMO with the needs analysis, one of the questions we would ask is if the person had ever planned a funeral or been a part of that process before. I feel like that's kind of like given the topic that we're talking about, talking to our clients, they understand why we're asking that question. And that's a good way to get them to kind of start thinking for themselves. If they have experienced it, how much that cost, what that looked like for their family. And if they haven't, then you can give your own experience in that scenario. And with me, my father passed away. He actually didn't have insurance, and that burial was like 15,000. So that's always like a genuine way to kind of paint that picture so you can use that as ammunition later.
I like that a lot, actually. That is very good. Yeah, just getting people into actually like envisioning what could happen. It's very true. So, um, yeah, I like that a lot. Anybody else at all?
Uh, mind if I ask another one?
Yeah, yeah. Ask away.
All right. So I had a client on the phone the other day, and I was trying to get to understand, her needs a little bit more, and I wanted to know why she was getting the coverage. And she kind of interrupted me, and she was like, "We got to do this tomorrow." I'm like, "Oh yeah, no worries. This will just take a second." And then I tried to go back into what I was saying, and she was like, "No, no, 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 no." Like she kind of gave me like the attitude that I would expect from someone who's trying to like sell her something. So with that, do I match the energy back and start screaming, "No, no, 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 you listen here," or do I kind of like kind of do you kind of just like, I guess, push past it the kindest way you can?
Give him the same energy back. I probably shouldn't even play this video, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I don't care because I love him. Spags, one of our guys, last night, he closed like a 286 a month. The guy hung up on him twice and told him to go F himself 2 times. He called him back and he just doesn't care. He told him, he said, "You're a piece of shit, Rich." Next thing you know, the guy's like, "Oh, I just know you're trying to sell me something." He ended up selling the guy. He's like, "You didn't even give me 30 seconds." Hold on, I'm gonna play the video. It's fucking hilarious. He gave it right back to him. I loved it. I loved it. Hold on. Where is it? That's not necessarily saying that you could tell these people that they're a piece of shit, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. So,
Sauce.
Go fuck yourself, you piece of shit. Huh? That doesn't hurt me. Doesn't help anybody, right? Yeah, well, I don't know why you're gonna be. I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't know why you're gonna be a jerk off, Rich. It's just simple as that. I'm telling you, it makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. But you never let me get my half out. You know what? I know what your half is. No, you don't. You don't know what my half is. You don't know. No, you don't. You didn't even give me a chance. You want to sell something. I get that. Not looking, but I'm not looking to push you. I'm not looking to push you into anything, Rich. It's simple. Is see what we can get you approved for. See if we can even get you something and beat the rate. And if we can, we'll cancel everything tomorrow. I'll help you. I'll help you make sure you don't get a bill again. Yeah, well, I'm a little bit different, Rich. You see,
like, he ended up doing that, and then by the end of it, he ended up selling the guy like two, three policies. One was like 286 a month. Ended up making like over 4 grand from that one guy who told him to go F himself at the beginning of the call. So like give it right back to them. Give it right back. They will respect you.
Thank you, Joe. I will.
I promise you. Like if they're like I saw this one thing online as well a little while back and it's called like the piss boat method. So like if someone's pissed off or they're upset, then you get on the piss boat with them and you get pissed along with them. So maybe they had a bad past experience with buying the product. Yeah, this guy was trying to sell me some bullshit. He was trying to scam me or whatever it is. It's like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. Like, what else did he do to you?" "Oh, well, he did this and he did that." It's like, "Yeah, that's just unfortunate. I hate hearing this stuff. Tends to happen all the time nowadays. Whenever someone does tell me, I feel really bad for them. Kind of the way that we do things differently here is this. So like you get mad with them, you get upset with them, you sink the piss boat, and then by the time you sink it, then they're on your page instead of being combative with them. So yeah, that's how I would attack people like that. Just like be right on the same page as them. They're happy, you're happy. They're sad, you're sad. They're in the middle, you're like a little bit above them, but not too much. So
To add on to what you just said, you definitely want to be calculated with that, like, because you do need to definitely be educated and know what you're talking about for people to respect you when you come off like that.
yeah,
Um,
no
but there's
doubt.
a but there's a book called The One Sentence Persuasion Course. And to summarize it is basically um you basically want to mirror a person. Like you want to justify their failures, lie with their fears, throw rocks at their enemies,
Mhm.
confirm their suspicions, and encourage their dreams. So,
Yep.
like in that scenario, like you just said, he basically mirrored the person brought the wall down. Like, I understand where you're coming from. You think I'm trying to sell you something, but really, I'm just doing my job. I'm just trying to see what options we even have here for you. And by the end, obviously, he ended up respecting the guy and seeing value in the product to buy it. So,
Yep. But no doubt, you got to have that. You can't be like 1 foot in, 1 foot out with that type of response. You're exactly right. You got to like say it with confidence and you got to know your shit. Like you got to know your product. You got to know that you can get him approved for something better. You got to understand his situation before then. Like he understood this guy's situation before then. He was on the phone with him for a little bit and then he hung up on him and then he called him again and he hung up on him again and he stayed persistent. The guy's like, "What, man?" Ended up getting him. So like I would say like a lot of times with insurance, people think that like once someone does give you a hang up that you can't call them back and sell them. This is one thing that Spags is really good at. He can like sense if someone wants to buy. Like, no, this guy is mine. He's like, this guy is mine. I'm gonna make him buy for sure. He will buy something. Why do these people keep calling me? But yeah, that's it, guys. I mean, does anyone else have anything to add?
Yeah, I've got one question. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Just okay. Um, it's happened to me a few times where like you kind of get through the needs analysis and you build a little bit of value, and then the person kind of tells you they don't want to purchase anything over the phone, that they only want to sign up if there's like a written contract in front of them and they meet you. Like I had a call yesterday where the lady was like I kind of joined the piss boat like you said because she was like, yeah, I've had a bad past experience. Like I've signed up online for life insurance like 2 times, and before I even receive like a paper in the mail or anything, they charge my account. And I kind of was like, oh yeah, like I'm sorry to hear that. Like that's not how it should be. Um, typically once you sign up and get approved for insurance, they'll send out a policy packet to your house. And she just kind of got like all pissed off because she was like, I was trying to like tell her, life insurance is mainly done over the phone nowadays. Since COVID, I went with that route. And she was
Good.
like, and she got mad at me because she's like, yeah, see, you're still trying to sell me. Like, I'm not doing anything over the phone. And I was like, well, I can't really
Yeah,
meet you out there. So,
I mean, those people are, I've had so many of those. They're kind of a lost cause. I mean, it's like, ma'am, look, I can do the best that I can do here today. I'm a little far from you. I can't come out and help you in person. I will say that most people do tend to do everything online nowadays. Ever since COVID did happen, like you said, you did that. Like that's what I would typically do. You know, since COVID happened, everything did transition to online. I know that some people are still used to their old ways, but this is just the new way of doing things. Um, everything that we take over the phone is to be kept confidential. You'll have to agree to a HIPAA authorization as we do this process. That's what the first SIG is, guys. Like, if you ever want to make someone feel more comfortable and they already like gave you their social, I always tell them like just to let you know, like that was the HIPAA authorization. Do you know what that is? Yes or no? If they don't know what it is, explain it. This is to make sure that all the information that we take over the phone today, as well as the information that Mutual of Omaha takes or whatever the carrier is to be kept confidential. So by you agreeing to this, you're signing a contract with myself as well as the company. So all your information's in a safe place, right? You could see it yourself. So like that would be the really only other thing that I would add on to that. If not, then I would just let him go. There's really not that much you could do though, Mikey.
okay, thanks.
Yep. And where can we find the recording for this training? I'm recording it right now, so I can drop it into the announcements chat probably. Um, but if not, Jeremiah, whose team are you on? Are you on Jacobs? Yes, no, maybe so. Matthews. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll just have it I'll put it in the announcements chat. You can watch it in there. But other than that, guys, if nobody has anything else to say, or Jimmy has a question here, how do you deal with people that say, yeah, you can send me this in the mail? Um, it's like you got to tell them that you can't, essentially. It's like, yeah, man, crack a little laugh. It's like, yeah, man, I wish this is the way that it worked, but we can't send you anything in the mail until we actually get an approval. These numbers that I gave you, the rates, it's just a quote. We don't even know if you'd be approved for them. So it's just going to take a couple minutes to go through this process here and actually see if you would be approved. Now, first question they're asking me is a good address to mail everything out to. So what would a good address be for you? So you tell them, and then you go right into your next question. You don't like ask them for approval if it's okay to move forward. It's like, I can't do that, but if you want to see it, then this is what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to see if we can get you approved. So what's a good address for you? Get the address. Okay, cool. Now just want to confirm that this is the way that your name is spelt out on your ID. Yes. Okay. And this is your date of birth once again. Yes. Now you're in the mix. Now you're in the application. Once they've already gotten into it and answered a couple questions, you got them bought in. They're almost always going to get through it as long as you can do it, in a timely manner. That's another thing. You don't want to leave too much dead space. Always fill dead space with a question to just reconfirm information at that. Like, just want to make sure before we proceed to this next page here, you did want to leave Mary for 100% as the beneficiary, right? Even if you already talked about that and there's dead space, make it seem like you're still on that page. Address, reconfirm some sort of information. But like along with that, you don't want to reconfirm information too many times. Sometimes people will, constantly say like, yeah, you just want to make sure that, this person doesn't have to come out of pocket, right? And they'll say it 4 times throughout the call. It's like you don't need to do that because that's when you start sounding like a salesman. You only need to do that when objections come up, so then you can tie it back to the problem. If you say it too many times just to fill dead space, then they're like, who is this guy? Why is he trying to sell me so hard? So, yeah, that's everything, guys. Anything else?
I
Type in the
yeah,
chat.
I kind of want to pop in on what you just said there. Like when
Yeah.
people, they just want it in the mail or whatever, and you try pushing for the approval, and then like you get to the banking part, I feel like I half the time I get to the bank, I get an objection with those types of people, and I tell them like, well, they need this on file. It's to, identify that you're a real person, and nothing would, go into place today. They wouldn't take anything out of your account today. Like, how would you combat that in like the most, uh, I guess, professional manner, just to kind of move forward?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said it the right way. You just have to say it like very nonchalant and like it has to sound very fluent. It's like, yeah, no, like I said before, we set the draft date out, say, today's the 18th. You said you didn't want anything going into place till the first of the month. That's why on the previous page, I asked you that question. We set everything out to the first of the month. Now, they're just going to need the bank info here, obviously, to confirm that it is you that we're filling out the insurance application for. It has to be in your name and not in anybody else's. So, like I said, your info, the routing number already does populate here since they are a preferred vendor. Now I see it as 100165251. Just want to confirm that's the way it appears on your end, right? So it's the same thing as getting them into the application. You tell them the way it works, and then you ask them the next question for the call to action again to get them back into it. So they're like, no, this is not the way it's going to work. Well, it's like, no, this is the way it's going to work. And then ask the next question that you need to get him back to staying on track, which is going to be confirming that routing number. And then once they've already said that, they're right next to the account number. So just go ahead with that. And then they're going to say, oh, no, I don't give out my account number. Well, sir, this is part of the process. So go ahead with that whenever you're ready. Like, don't do too much explanation if they're to give you like an account number objection. Sometimes you just have to stand 10 toes and just tell people how it is. So, but yeah, guys, that's that. 12
Appreciate
o'clock.
it, Joe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everybody, good luck today. Let's go make some shmoney. Make it
Thank you,
happen.
Joe.
Let's get after it. I'll talk to you guys. I'll see you.